All right, let's get right into this because we've got a story that feels like a high-stakes tech thriller. But it's not happening in Silicon Valley. Nope, it's all unfolding in a place you would never, ever expect. And it revolves around a mystery that could seriously change the future of AI.
You've got to picture this. We're talking about the Xinjiang region. It's this remote, vast, kind of barren landscape in northwestern China. It's known for a lot of things, but high-tech? Not so much. And yet, this desert is now becoming the front line, the unlikely battleground for China's massive AI ambitions.
And this is the number at the heart of it all, 115,000. That's how many top-of-the-line, US-designed superchips are planned for new data centers out there, according to a Bloomberg News investigation. So what's the catch? Well, every single one of those chips is strictly banned from being sold to China. And that is the mystery we're unpacking today.
Okay, so first up, let's just try to wrap our heads around the incredible scale of this thing. We're looking at how this one spot, Yuwu County in Xinjiang, has suddenly become this central piece in China's huge plan to dominate the world of AI.
Yeah, we're not talking about some small-time project here. Billions, with a B, are being poured into these huge data centers. It's all part of China's national strategy to be the world leader in AI by 2030. And to make things even more complicated, it's all happening in the very sensitive Xinjiang region, a place where foreign journalists are constantly being watched, which just adds a whole other layer of intrigue to this.
And that brings us right to the central puzzle, doesn't it? The official plans, the documents, they all say these data centers are going to use the best AI chips on Earth, chips that legally they can't get. So what's the deal? Is it some kind of incredibly bold plan to smuggle them in, or is it all just one giant bluff?
And let's be super clear about the chips we're talking about here. The Nvidia H100 and H200. These are the gold standard. They are the engines that power things like ChatGPT. If you want to train a powerful AI, you need these. And since 2022, the US has put them on total lockdown. You need a special license to send them to China, and let's just say those licenses are pretty much impossible to get.
So it all boils down to this, doesn't it? Are these companies just putting on a brave face, or have they actually figured out a way to get their hands on more than 100,000 of the most sought-after, most heavily restricted pieces of tech on the planet?
Now, to really get the stakes here, you have to understand why these chips are banned in the first place. This isn't just about some business rivalry. No, this is a core part of U.S. national strategy.
The US government has this strategy they call small yard, high fence. And the idea is actually kind of brilliant. Instead of blocking all trade, you just identify the few technologies that are absolute game changers. That's your small yard. Then you build a ridiculously high fence of rules and controls around them to keep them away from your rivals. And right now, these advanced AI chips are deep inside that yard.
The goal here is really specific. Slow down China's AI development, especially for anything that could be used by the military, and make sure America stays on top technologically. But what's really interesting is that the US does allow weaker chips to be sold, like Nvidia's H20. It's a deliberate move, Keep China in the game commercially, but always make sure they're a generation or two behind the really cutting-edge stuff.
Okay, so with that policy in mind, the journalists on this story went to Xinjiang to try and see for themselves. I mean, if these data centers actually had the chips, it would be a huge failure for US policy. But what they found, well, it just made things even weirder.
The reporting team basically hit a brick wall of secrecy. They'd set up an appointment to actually go inside one of these construction sites, see the server rooms. But then, boom, last minute, it's canceled. Access denied. The doors were quite literally shut in their face.
Which, of course, just makes you wonder even more, right? What in the world is going on in there? Are they hiding a massive stockpile of smuggled chips? Or are they hiding the fact that they don't have them at all?
So back in the US, the experts are, well, they're not buying it. Government sources, people who know how smuggling networks work, they all said the same thing. There is no way. There's no known black market operation big enough to move over 100,000 of these things. And Nvidia agrees. They say, look, even if you got the chips, you need our official support to get that many working together. And we're not providing.
But just when you think you've got the story figured out, that China just can't get the best hardware, bam, a plot twist comes out of nowhere thanks to a Chinese AI company called DeepSeek that completely upended everyone's assumptions.
And if you want to know why these Nvidia chips are such a big deal, you just have to look at the raw power. China's best homegrown chip, the Huawei Ascend, is actually pretty good, but a single Nvidia H100 gives you 3 to 4 times more computing power. That is a massive difference, and it explains why everyone is so desperate to get their hands on Nvidia's tech.
Okay, so back to DeepSeek. This startup just shocked everybody by releasing an AI model that was right up there with the best in the West. And they claim they did it using the legal, less powerful chips, which raises a whole new question. Maybe you can close that hardware gap with better software. Of course, a lot of people in Washington are still suspicious. They think DeepSeek must have gotten H100 somehow. And here's the kicker. DeepSeek has apparently shown interest in using these exact Xinjiang data centers. It ties this whole software mystery right back to our hardware mystery.
All right, so let's pull back for a second and look at the big picture here and put this whole desert mystery where it belongs, right in the middle of the global, head-to-head race for AI dominance.
And when you put the numbers side by side, it's pretty wild. The ambition for the Xinjiang project is about 115,000 of those H100 level chips. At the same time, there's just one project in the US, codenamed Stargate, that's planning for 400,000 of Nvidia's next-generation chips. It just shows you the insane scale on both sides, with the US clearly trying to stay way out ahead on the hardware.
But here's the thing you have to remember. This Xinjiang Megaplex, it's not a one-off. It's really just the tip of the iceberg. There are similar, massive data centers being built all over China. This is a coordinated, nationwide push to build the foundation for an AI-powered future.
So, as those buildings keep going up in the desert, we're left with this one huge question. The US has built its high fence, but China seems determined to find a way over it, or under it, or maybe just build its own ladder. The mystery of those 115,000 chips, it's about way more than just hardware. It's a real-time test of whether a policy like this can actually stop a nation with this much ambition.